Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all genders, for the first time since the last time, it is that time, right about that time, for your favorite Pokemon challenge and mine. My name is Sebastian Todd III. You may call me ST3. I use he, him pronouns. And this is the SoulSilver gift only randomizer Nuzlocke. It's a mouthful. Welcome back to episode 2. As you probably saw in the intro moment, I'm guessing it's the intro moment. We haven't recorded the episode yet, so maybe something weird happened. The episode we put in the intro moment instead. But if the intro moment is the eggs hatching, and you've already seen that the eggs have hatched, so let's take a quick look at the Pokemon on the team. And of course, we have our starter, Rampardos, aka Alaska, named after an aunt whose birthday was on Monday when episode 1 of this series went up. That's right, this is episode 2. So if you have not yet seen episode 1, go check it out. If you've seen episode 1 and or any of the content we put up on the channel thus far, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell to be notified when a new video uploads. The schedule is, of course, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So in episode 1, we started with Alaska the Rampardos, level 10 now, which means that to go with Trace the ability, we have Headbutt, Leer, Focus Energy, and finally, Pursuit. We have Brodacon, the Feraligatr, also level 10, Scratch, Leer, Water Gun, and Rage with Mold Breaker for the ability. We've got Danders, the level 10 Don't Sleep on a Chatot with White Smoke, Peck Growl, and Mirror Move. And then, of course, we have Denny, P67, the pseudo-legendary Tyranitar, also level 10 with Quick Feet. And the moves Bite, Leer, Sandstorm, and Screech. And these 3 Pokemon all came from the eggs with Primo, so we hatched them in between episodes, trained them up to level 10 so that when we started this recording session, we could just hit the ground running, and I wouldn't have to make you all sit through all of the training. And they are all named after, even if you're not using a little bit of an inflection, they are all named after viewers on the channel, subscribers who have left comments in previous series. If you want to be named after a Pokemon in this series or in future series, leave a comment down below so that we can honor that request. Let me know what Pokemon, what nickname, or just in general, like, hey, any Pokemon, it would be funny to name a Pokemon XYZ. And if you haven't noticed or picked up on it yet from this episode to the last, the trick in this one is we can only use the gift Pokemon. So this does not count as our encounter because we're not given a Venonat in Bellsprout Tower, or Sprout Tower as it were. We just happen to encounter one there. So we cannot throw Pokeballs. Not going to happen. So we will beat it. We'll take the experience, absolutely. But we will not throw any Pokeballs and try to catch the Venonat. That's not going to happen. The goal for this episode, we went pretty long in episode 1 just to get everything in, get to the egg so we could get some more teammates and be able to do some of that training and hatching in between episodes. So today we're going to try to get us back to the 30-minute or so mark. And ideally, we're going to be able to get at least Sprout Tower done and at least the gym done. That way we can grab yet another egg, the 5th and not final overall, but 5th and final of the gift Pokemon we can get before we get toward Chuck, I do believe, unless I'm missing something. And if I am missing a gift Pokemon, by all means, tell me in the comments below. The other thing to put in the comments, a lot of comments today, people, a lot of comments. We have the fossil. If you think that counts as a gift Pokemon, leave a comment. If you don't, leave a comment. We need to know what we think on the fossil. Of course, we can't revive the fossil until we beat Johto and then get into Kanto and then get to Pewter. So it's a long time coming, but Let me know in the comments below your thoughts. Yay or nay, is a found item fossil a gift Pokemon? My personal thought is not technically, but I am game for whatever. I will say we're also uh, 5 minutes of like just intro stuff. We're very lucky that Brolicon already has Water Gun right out the bat. Helps us out. I did notice in grinding um, that one of the things I didn't think of with both Rampardos and um, and Tyranitar, aka Alaska and NEP67, is that again, thankfully we have Chatot, aka Danders. Thankfully we have Brolicon. Um, Sorry, yeah, Brolicon the Feraligatr. Got my nicknames confused there. But we ran into a Nidoking. Thankfully, we switched trained in because Water Gun is super effective. But Double Kick would have totally destroyed Tyranitar and would almost as equally destroy. It's not quad weak, but it's still super effective. So, fighting. There were Scizors in the route we trained up, the first route. Again, thankfully, Brolicon handled a lot of that, which is why he was so much closer to over leveling, at least until Chatot got up there and could peck a lot of things down. But yeah, Steel also. So Steel and Fighting are some things we're going to have to be wary of with this team because we have Pokemon that are weak to it. Now, thankfully, the Fighting, we have Chatot who can be super effective against it. Brolicon will be at least neutral against most of the Steel, if not straight up super effective. So we've got counters. We've got a well diverse team, but it's definitely something we want to be mindful of and switch out wherever possible. Of course, if we run into something with Shadow Tag or Arena Trap, well then yikes. But in the meantime, we'll just continue to get our good friend Brolicon up as many levels as Brolicon wants to go right now. I imagine Brolicon will end up starting to carry the team here. At some point, Brolicon gets such a good move pool, diverse, just a good Pokemon. I've talked about this in previous series. My favorite Pokemon of all time is Squirtle. I just love Squirtle. I think Squirtle's adorable. I think Squirtle, all of the 3 stages of the evolution line look phenomenal. But if I'm being unbiased, which why? I mean, I should do. Feraligatr, especially by this gen, just objectively seems like a better fully evolved starter in terms of move pool more than anything. So, and don't get me wrong, I love Totodile and Croconon, love Feraligatr, but Squirtle will always be my number one. But I think in terms of like a good water starter, Feraligatr's got to be up there. Got to be up there. I will say, in terms of Gen 9 starters, I don't think they have a bad one, per se. I will say that the constant dancing on Quaxly's fully evolved form, who I'm blanking on, just the constant movement gets a bit much for me. But that's personal preference. I think if they just let it stand still, it would be perfectly fine. That is, if that's like the big knock I really have on it, then I think we're doing fine. The other, I guess, there's one other knock, and I've talked about this 1,000 times, and that knock is simply that in specifically Violet, which I think has a couple of cooler Pokemon in terms of looks and stuff. It's hard to choose Fuecoco because Fuecoco becomes Fire and Ghost when fully evolved. When there's Ceruledge in the game, who is also a Fire and Ghost Pokemon. So you either have to duplicate entirely, or one of them sits. So I don't love that aspect of it. But I do love Ceruledge. Armarouge is pretty awesome as well, but not I don't feel like it's as good, the fire psychic typing, as the fire ghost. And maybe that's just personal opinion. But is what it is. Is what it is there. That's just my feelings, my 2 cents. Hot take, I know. Here's another hot take, because this came out at work. And I want to... let's hold that thought for a second. Let's see what we can do against the Red Dress. If we had a rock move, this would be different. I'm afraid, of course, of Kaboom. Okay, no Kaboom yet. Very minimal damage. I'm afraid we're going to get it in range and it's going to Kaboom. Maybe we can kill it with this water gun and no Kaboom? It didn't Kaboom, but we didn't kill it as long as we... Okay. Hey, hey, we're the monkeys. No Kaboom. The sound Red Dress just made. I know I haven't figured it out yet, 3 series in, how to sync the audio correctly. So I'll just reenact some of it for you. Ooh. That's what it sounded like. There you go. I'm a voice actor now. Hot take that we were talking about before Regi so rudely did us is that the latest Spider-Man movie with Tom Holland, who I love. I love Tom Holland. I enjoyed the movie, but I don't love it. And I know it's like 2 years old at this point, but it's a hot take, and we're talking about hot takes, so it popped into mind. Plus, like I said, it came up at work recently. For all the character growth of Stephen Strange in Doctor Strange, and for the way his character was in Infinity War specifically, it just seems really out of character that Peter Parker could come to him and be like, hey, I want to do this spell. And he's just like, yeah, okay, sure. We can make everybody forget you. I also find it hard to believe that Dr. Stephen Strange, and again, this is not a knock on the character itself, but Dr. Stephen Strange took a full movie to learn how to be the Sorcerer Supreme and use the little, things. And then Ned, who I love, who doesn't love Ned? Who doesn't love Ned? Ned picks it up and he's like, oh, look, wavy movie, okay, boom, done. And I know they have like this minimal backstory in there about the familial, dabbling in the magics and stuff. That's good to know for later. X-Blood has Aftermath. We can't be too risky with that. But Ned just picks it right up, and it's like nothing for him. Like, that just... I didn't like that, because... Like, I'm sorry, but you're telling me Ned can pick it up, but Doctor Strange took... And maybe there's an argument to be made. This could be like a whole term paper. So if you're a college student and you're trying to figure out what do you do your term paper on, here's an idea for you. One of the big life lessons that Stephen Strange needed, right, was to develop some humility, right? He needed to be humbled. He needed to not be full of himself. And Ned isn't. Ned is just like chill. So maybe part of that, right? Maybe it's the ego. Can there an argument be made that Ned embraces more of the id? That's up for you to decide if you want to use it as a term paper. You're welcome. Congratulations. Hopefully get an A. But yeah, so I don't love the movie as much as other people do. And then finally, the bigger point to me, the biggest point of all three. Biggest point of all three is that we all knew Tobey Maguire was going to show up. We all knew Andrew Garfield was going to show up. And I just felt like the movie could have taken a page out of professional wrestling. Now, hear me out. Hear me out. If this movie were professional wrestling, Tom Holland, and I'm just going to refer to him that way because it's going to be easier to distinguish between the three if we use actors' names instead of character names. Tom Holland's in the ring. Tom Holland's getting beat up, right? By Hobgoblin, by the Rhinoceros, by Sandman, whichever the villains you want. All of the villains we saw, some of them, whatever. Tom Holland's in there, getting his butt whooped. 3, 4, 5, 6, 20 villains, it doesn't matter. And then all of a sudden, you want Stone Cold Steve Austin to make a return, right? The glass shatters, Stone Cold comes to the ring, and he stomps, he stomps a mud hole and walks it dry, or whatever that saying is, right? And if you want The Rock to come help him, a.k.a. Andrew Garfield, maybe, right? Then, if you smell, hits, and The Rock goes down, and he, whoops butt and takes name and layeth the smacketh down. Not only am I talking wrestling, but we're going like 1990s Attitude Era. Because guess what? I'm an Attitude Era kid. That was my heyday. But that's how you do it, right? You do it in the battle, in the fight. It's not. I mean, maybe you do it with the promo at the very least. Let's say Tom Holland is John Cena in this instance, and they come out to have this promo battle. Maybe. But really, it should be, hey, we're going to make the save, and we're going to be a team now. And it's not to beat them in that one battle. It's we're going to come, make the save, and we're going to set up the match at the pay-per-view, which is the final big battle, right? So that's my big issue, is that it was just, oh, hey, by the way, it's not John Cena in the ring. It's not somebody getting beat up. It's, I don't even know what the analogy would go here for wrestling. It's Ned and it's MJ, and they're not really, like, they're going to be part of the fight a little bit at Survivor Series, maybe. It's a 5-on-5. I don't know what. The analogy is getting stretched too thin. That's my point. It wasn't Tom Holland. It wasn't in the middle of a beatdown, which is, I think, where we all wanted to see it. Like, Hobgoblin's got Holland on the ropes and goes to stab him with something, and all of a sudden, web, boom, pulls away that's, again, take the professional wrestling mindset, the professional wrestling approach. Use that kind of. Maybe a better example, if we really want to go old school, right? 1996, Bash at the Beach, right? You got the fight going on. No, that's not a good example, because Hogan turned on him. That could have been something nobody saw coming. All of a sudden, here's Tobey Maguire to help save Tom Holland, and nope, it's Tobey Maguire playing the evil version of himself from the third movie. There could be that. I just hit a button, made it full screen. It's all going to look weird. Hopefully I can fix it in editing. Don't mind me. Yeah, he could be like the Venom version of him. He mentions the Venom version. I was once, the alien symbiote thing. I'm just saying. Could have been fun. Tom Holland and Andrew Garfield first have to clear the Venom from Tobey Maguire. How did we get on this topic? I don't know. I gotta be honest with you. As I was sitting here, listening to an audiobook, which I do enjoy, love the audiobook, really into it, highly recommend it. It's The Stand by Stephen King. Very much enjoying it. I'm sitting here listening to it. I'm trying to grind. I'm trying to, hatch the eggs and grind up the Pokemon. And I'm going, man, I don't know if I got an episode in me, after this. I don't know, I really should go prep breakfast for tomorrow morning. Wake up, have a little breakfast before work. I don't want to have to, figure something out. And then I hit record, and all of a sudden, it's just like, my mouth is going a mile a minute, and I can't keep up with it. I don't know why. I do know why, and I'm going to tell you why. I actually had this conversation with someone I used to work with. I saw her today, briefly, and appreciate her a lot. But she's like, so here's the thing. I used to work as a branch manager at a bank. And don't get me wrong, it's a great place to bank. If you are a customer looking for a bank, go to that bank. The name of the bank is Retracted. Because not sponsored or anything like that. It's a great bank to work. Great bank to bank at. Not a great bank to work at. Especially as a branch manager. It was a ton of stress. I felt like we were pulled in 1,000 directions. And I know that's corporate America in general, but um, it was also, you'd have a conversation with your supervisor in person, and you feel all right about it. You feel like, all right, maybe I can turn this around. And then 2 seconds later, when they're no longer in your presence, the emails would just come and you would feel like a POS. We're trying not to swear on the channel, so I won't spell that out, but like, like you just felt terrible, felt like garbage. And it just grinds on you when you're torn in 1,000 directions and you feel like you're doing well and you have a week where you bring in, a couple $1,000,000 in new money and you help these people get, reach their dreams, and you're like, yeah, I'm doing something good. And then all of a sudden, like, your boss makes you feel like burnt toast thrown in a gutter. You're like, why am I doing this? Why am I? The bank itself is barely open, not even 40 hours a week itself. And yet here I'm putting in 50-hour weeks, 60-hour weeks. And I feel like I don't have enough time because we're pulled in 97 directions. So, anyway, when I first left, I went, because I still bank there. I'm still a customer because it's still a good place to bank. And I saw this particular coworker, and immediately she said, "You look like you've had the weight of the world taken off your shoulders." Well, I saw her today for the first time since starting the new job. And she was just like, "You look just so happy. Like, you just look radiant and vibrating with like this jubilee." And my wife today, we were talking before she went to work. We had a little brief dinner together, and she was like, "You just seem so happy right now." And she said several times in the last weeks, "Why are you so hyper? Why are you so hyper? Why are you so hyper?" And I'm like on less caffeine than ever before. I haven't given up coffee, but I'm being very not random, very selective. Only a few times, a month, once, maybe a week. That's where I'd like to be, at least. Um, so it's not like I'm taking in a bunch of caffeine and I'm just like on a caffeine rush. It's a natural like jitteriness and just all that, and it's because right now I'm feeling fulfilled at my job, and I feel like I can only be more fulfilled at my job. I'm out from that to say this: confusion. Don't know that any of our Pokemon can learn it, but definitely worth having, holding on to. Um, and we sold the Pokeballs because we can't catch Pokemon, so doesn't matter if we have them or not. But yeah, just feeling fulfilled at my job right now. I know I'm only a few weeks in, but really feeling like I can help. I can make a difference. I can be a safe space for people. I can be a sounding board. I can be a resource. I can be a tool, an arrow in the quiver, whatever you want to say. Um, and feeling like it's a place where when I'm really into it and have more opportunity to really apply myself and my skills, my strengths. Just feel like it's going to be a great fit. It's already feels like a great fit. And the team is just phenomenal. Like the whole team. I just feel so blessed to be part of that group. And I think it just shows. So I think that's part of it is when I'm alone and listening to movies or music or audiobook or whatever, yeah, maybe I'm not as hyper and chipper outwardly. Uh, but the moment I get a chance to express anything, it's coming out a little bit more hyperactive. And I think, to be honest, I need to find a way to bring some of that into the job itself too. Because yeah, boom, experience share. That felt really weird to be like, yeah, because I wanted to swear, and I just got done trying not to swear on this channel. But an experience share is phenomenal this early in the game. We take those. Mystic Water isn't bad early in the game, but T-Tar is almost certainly getting that. Sacred Ash, can't use healing items or revive items, so doesn't matter. But oh, that was great. But I need to bring some of that into the office because I try to be very even keel about a lot of things, and in doing so, I feel like sometimes people think I'm not emotionally invested, and I am. I really am. Or they don't realize just how excited I am, and it's because I'm trying to not be too like maybe not too in your face, too jittery, too hyper, too whatever the case is. When I'm just like bouncing off the wall, so I think I need to add a little bit of that. Not a lot, just a little bit more of that into the daily work routine so people can see it. But I think they know that I enjoy being there. I think they know that I enjoy having fun. I think they know that I'm there to work as hard as anybody else and have a good time doing so. I also said we were going to put that on Denny P67. I think we're going to. We're going to try to get Brodicon and then Denny P67 up to level 20. But I think once we get Denny P67 up to 20, it might make sense to put that, get Brodicon up to 20. It might make sense to take Denny P67 to the front and put it on like Danders or Alaska just to help pump them up a little bit more. Just a thought. All right, so I think what we're going to do is we haven't talked about this yet either because I haven't even stopped talking long enough to take a drink. Drink your water. It's important. And I will say, in my defense, if there is one to be had, I'm already at, let's math real quick, 16 is 32. 32 and 32 is 64. 20 is 84. 12 is 96. Yes, okay. So 96. And then once we drink this, which is 16 ounces, we will be at 112. Sounds about right. So, moral of the story, ton of water. That's the moral of the story. I've consumed a ton of water today. But I try to go over 100 ounces every single day. So, that's just me. You will find what is right for you and whatever diet, exercise, routine you might be trying to create and form. I will tell you that I am very proud of the progress I've had in the 2 weeks since we've really kind of buckled into this weight loss group accountability challenge thing. In the 2 weeks, I have lost 10 pounds as of this morning, and I'm very, very proud of that. Very happy with that. I know it's been a lot of work, but I also have to say that, and I know there are going to be some of you out there that are like, duh. The more I do the work, the easier the work gets. The more I go, all right, I need to get 10,000 steps, the easier it is to get 10,000 steps. The more I think about, hey, I want to do the Peloton today, the more I'm conscious of, what shoes am I wearing? Because I've noticed that if I wear the wrong dress shoes and walk a lot at work, the Peloton is harder because my feet themselves hurt because of the arch supports. I have flat feet. It's a thing. But I'm learning those things that I've never paid attention to before, which I think is a very important thing for me to be doing. But yeah, but it's getting easier to get on the bike and not worry about setting PRs, although I did set a PR last Thursday, and I was really super proud of it. I think I talked about that in Monday's episode. But to be able to have that ability to have that, like that, I can get on the bike and I can get through this and I can do this, and I don't need to worry about the statistics and I don't need to worry about this or that or the other thing. It's just so freeing to just be like, let's get on the bike and go. I'm going to ride for 30 minutes, and I know I'm going to ride for 30 minutes, and I know I can kind of follow along with the cadence, and I can follow along with the resistance, and I'm going to be all right. Man, it's just such a good feeling to be in that spot. And closing in on 50 total rides on the Peloton, which is a small milestone for sure. It's far from where we want to be, but we can't get to where we want to be until we get there. And I think that's something we all fail to think about sometimes. We all set lofty goals for ourselves, as we should. Sometimes we fail to kind of map out what does the path to success look like. And the fact that a lot of the times there has to be incremental progress, and we don't celebrate those wins enough. And it's one of the things I'm going to try to be more mindful of in my life is let's celebrate the wins where we get them and when we get them, because we've worked hard to get them. So I think what we're going to do, as I just keep talking, is run away from the Regice, for sure. And I think we're going to go grab this item. We're going to face this one last trainer over here down below. Then we'll wrap up this episode. We'll do a quick and we'll record Friday's episode, so that they're all ready to go in the can, and all I have to do throughout the week is edit them, because I've got stuff going on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday night, so really have a couple of nights there where I can more easily get to these without having to force myself to stay up a little bit later than I'd like or anything like that. So I say we're going to do all this, and man, the grass is just like, no, every encounter we can throw at you, we are going to. And I'm thinking about this right now. It might make sense to grab a handful of Pokeballs, maybe 10, 15, on the rare but possible chance that we run into a shiny, just so we can try to catch the shiny, because it would be heartbreaking to encounter a shiny and not be able to do anything about it. But we'll burn that bridge when we get to it. First, I'd like to get through the grass enough to go face this trainer, and I think what we'll do is grab some repels. Rough skin. Okay. We have Shell Bell. All good. So let's face this trainer and wrap up my long ranting soliloquy here. And if you've tolerated this whole episode with me just rambling on about nothing and everything and whatever, thank you. I appreciate it. And even if you haven't loved it, but you've been here all along, regardless, you put the video on mute in the background. Thank you. Wait. Thank you. Maybe that caught your attention if you haven't muted. Thank you for doing that. I do appreciate the support. I do appreciate everybody that's on the channel. I know we're still small, but that's where we start, right? We start small, and we get better, and we get bigger, and we get better. And I couldn't do that without each of you. So I appreciate it. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at the official ST3, TheOfficial ST3, on both Instagram and Twitter. That would probably be the name of the channel too, but there is already one made in that name, and I don't know who has it. It doesn't look like, at least last time I looked at it, that anybody really uses it or like uploads to it. For a long time, I didn't use this to upload anything. I took in content. Still do take in a ton of content. Still do, for sure. We've talked about that in other series before, too. Just how much content, whose content I like and watch. And I'm sure I've missed 1,000 people, but I know we're poisoned, so hopefully we can get through this grass pretty quick. Perfect. We'll go heal up. We'll wrap up at the Pokemon Center itself. It's about a 34-minute episode by then. Thankfully, Pokemon don't die from poison in this generation, or at least in this game. So we can make it back with no worries about Dangerous the Chatot. Alright, we are healed. We are good to go. So, again, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for being a part of the channel. Hit the like button, subscribe, ring the bell to be notified of future episodes when they go up Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 5 p.m. I hope you have a wonderful Wednesday, a wonderful end of the week. We will see you here on Friday for episode number 3. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all genders, until next time.